I find the F word to be a wonderfully adaptive word that can be used for modifying a sentence to being a sentence in and of itself. Hello, and welcome to Basements, Faults, and Catapults. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm Trevor.
And here we're going to be looking at games, genres, and the things we enjoy in gaming.
And to do that, we're going to randomly select a genre each episode.
We're going to give a brief rundown of that genre.
And then we'll select 2 games. One of these games will be the absolute best in show for us, while the other, for whatever reason, is not so good. The catch, and what we hope will be the fun part, is neither of us will have played, or at least paid heavily, the titles the other has selected.
Yeah, so we're going to be taking those titles, the best and the worst, and then dividing them up. We'll give it an hour of playtime. We'll meet back up and chat about our experiences,
where we'll give our own opinions of the other's games, celebrate where we agree, and refrain from murdering each other where we disagree. After all, not everyone can have a perfect opinion.
And that's it. We'll hope that you'll join us, listen in, maybe be inspired to try a few titles along the way, or, let us know exactly why our opinions are trash.
Thank you for joining us, and remember, the cake is a lie.
I miss you, GLaDOS. But let's jump right in. As longtime listeners are aware, we have a amazing random genre selector.
Yeah, we do.
With just, it's beautiful. And with it, we're going to generate 3 random selections based off of a series of genres that we've inputted. Some highlights such as puzzles or shooters or, maybe even a year, because the years have sort of vibes to them in video games, right?
I mean, I've got to ask, though, what is it going to take me to get you strapped into a VR helmet? Because
a VR would have to come up.
Okay, well, if that's all it's going to take, then then I'm jonesing for some
You're
VR.
jonesing for VR?
Yeah.
Let's. We got VR. We were talking about Dune 2000 earlier.
Oh.
And I could go for like a good RTS.
Yeah?
But we did RTS already, or at least recently.
Speaking of RTS, we were talking in the pre-banter about doing a Star Trek Armada 2 Twitch stream, which we're going to do.
That will be happening in June, and we hope that you'll be joining us. Hopefully this episode will air before that happens.
Yeah.
Because sometimes as we're recording, and maybe it's already happened. So for those of you who watched it, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you find the podcast fun as well.
Yeah. So I think an RTS is always great. We were actually talking a lot in the pre-banter about Dune 2000, Star Trek Armada 2, and other RTSs that we're quite fond of. Yeah. And I would love to experience a good RTS and a bad RTS. Yeah.
Apparently, there's a guy from some of the dudes from Blizzard, I want to say, left.
Are they from Blizzard, or is the Blizzard from Dairy Queen?
Blizzard Entertainment.
Never proud of myself.
You should be not proud of yourself. Stormgate. There you go.
That's Stormgate. Yeah. Stormgate's cool.
So, Frank Klepacki is doing the music. Oh my god.
What is Frank Klepacki known for? I ask these things because I'm not all in the know.
Command and Conquer Red Alert.
Okay.
Hellmart. He did all the Command and Conquer soundtrack.
Okay, nice.
But everyone knows. Well, I shouldn't say everyone, but everyone who does the Red Alert thing knows Hellmarch by Frank Klepacki.
Cool. I think there's a lot of gamers that maybe don't have the gaming knowledge, and we can bring that knowledge to them. Yeah,
so Frank Klepacki, a video game composer, and he was one of the big ones for some of the early RTS stuff. But if Hellmarch is so iconic to the RTS genre, that is just, most people just hearing it know. If again they played it, but yeah,
I like that.
We can't play it for you guys because copyright.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a nice line. Yeah. That's a good bass line. I like it.
It's a Hellmarch.
I like it.
Look it up. It's a banger, as the youth say. Do they still say it's a banger?
Ooh, is it It's a real banger.
It's a real so I tied an onion on my wrist.
Right. Stay a while and listen.
So I tied an onion around my belt, which was the fashion at the time.
Right. Oh my God.
Boy. It happened. I wasn't even paying attention. Suddenly I became my grandfather, you know?
Yeah, or Grandpa Simpson.
Or Grandpa Simpson.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad times all around.
Cool. So,
yeah.
Let's delve into getting a genre going.
Let's roll.
Do it. So roll the dice, my good sir.
Roll the dice, Raggedy Man. So I'm taking a d20. I'm going to roll a dice. The number that pops up is the amount of times our compatriot Trevor is going to click the randomize button.
Yes, indeed.
And he's going to hit that button three times. Not
Lucky.
1, not 2, unless directly proceeding to 3. 4 is right out.
All right, so genre number 1 with 1 click would be JRPG, which we did previously. But with 2 clicks, we're at 1990s. And with 3 clicks, we're into horror now.
Which we've done recently.
We've done horror, which was episode 5. So that was about 6 episodes ago.
Yeah, and we also did Metrovania yesterday,
so
their last episode.
Why don't we give it one more roll
Let's
for
do
good
one
measure?
more for funsies.
We did platformer.
Literally
0 hour Steam time.
0 hour Steam time.
Okay, so 0 hour Steam time.
0 hour Steam time.
This is a genre where we pick games from our own libraries where we have not played at all. 0 hours. Might be minutes. Minutes is okay. But 0 hours.
0 hours.
And so let's go into our Steam libraries and see what have we played 0 hours. We learned we could sort by playtime, which is fun. And so we can actually go and see what was the last time we played and what have we played the least amount of time.
Wait, okay, hold on. Sort by hours played. Okay. Oh, Fallout 4 is like that. All right, let's see. I have XCOM Enforcer, Dawn of War 2 Chaos Rising, Dawn of War Winter Assault, Dawn of War Dark Crusade. All of these are 0 hours just because they're like expansions, and if you buy that, they add the expansion to the base game, so I couldn't count them.
Yeah.
XCOM Enforcer I could count. I've never played XCOM Enforcer. Titanfall 2 is misleading because I own Titanfall 2 on 2 different platforms.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Star Wars Force Unleashed. I've played the first one on the PlayStation 3, but I've never played the second one.
Okay.
Let's see. Star Wars Republic Commando.
And I'm playing the bad game this time.
Are you?
I believe I am. Because
with the 0 hours format, I don't think that works.
I don't think it works entirely, but you can pick a game from your library that you have 0 hours on that you don't really care to play.
I thought we were playing our own library on the 0 hours.
Oh, we
format.
could. We totally could.
Thought that was the format with 0 hours.
Yeah, I'm cool with that too. I mean, we just make these things up as we go along.
Yeah, guys, right? there is literally no rule.
Make it up as you go along. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, man, I've got lots here. I mean, I've got Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Really? You've never played Yakuza Like a Dragon?
I bought it 0 minutes in.
Brother. Yeah. Okay, you're playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's
X4
amazing.
Foundations, I've owned for like years, and I have 0 minutes. UFO Afterlight says I have only played 0 minutes, but that's not
remember
true.
There's UFO Afterlight and UFO Afterlight, the released edition or whatever, right?
Yeah. Tiny Tina's Assault on a Dragon Keep.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, you've played Borderlands, so you've played Tiny Tina's.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything special with that.
We've got a game called Thumper, which is like a beat game. Starpoint Gemini Warlords.
Looks like a Space 4X.
Yeah. You know, I mean, if we're picking one that from our library that we want to actually play, that we really have 0 minutes on, this is not going to be so hard.
No. I am going to play Star Wars Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith.
Oh, I like that. Do you have
Did you play as Mara Jade?
Oh.
I gotta listen. I'm not gonna get drawn into the debate of like, oh, Star Wars canon, Star Wars legend. For me, the Star Wars sequels will always be the novels by Timothy Zahn, and I don't consider what is now Legends to be non-canon. That'll always be my canon, and it is indeed the official sequels by Lucasfilms that are non-canon, sir.
I agree.
And more to the point, I found like the fandom got in its own way with the sequels in a lot of ways because they're like, don't you dare change a thing. So we just ended up getting New Hope again.
Yeah.
Which is boring. We didn't want New Hope, guys.
Yeah, it was definitely just a New Hope again, wasn't it?
And we demanded New Hope, and we got New Hope, and we were upset by it. So really, look in the mirror.
We've made a bigger, badder Death Star now.
Yeah,
it's the Planet Eater.
It's the Planet Destroyer, and it can shoot multiple Planet Destroyer beams, and it doesn't need to be near the planets. It can just
exist. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it was poorly done.
So I have a quick question about your Steam library, though.
Oh.
What game do you have the least number of minutes in that you've actually played, and how many minutes?
How do we?
Because I have multiple games that I have played under 10 minutes.
Yeah, so do I, actually.
Like, what would encourage us to buy a game, play it for under 10 minutes, and then turn it off?
Yeah. Rise of the Triad, I know exactly why I stopped playing it. It was poorly. It was just bad.
That's old. That's old.
Rust was trash. Shadowrun Dragonfall Director's Cut. I beat Shadowrun Dragonfall, but I don't remember why this one is only... Oh, because I purchased the Shadowrun games on GOG.
I see.
Because they had a sell where you could buy all three, because there's Dragonfall Hong Kong and the original, which I think is in Boston. But you could buy all three of those in one schmuck. So I did, which is why I only have 9 minutes in that one, because I've beaten it over on my good old games account. UFO Afterlight, I only have a minute, but that's not true. That can't be true. I've played way more UFO.
My UFO Afterlight also says that, and that's weird to me because I know that I've played more than that.
And then I bought the Mass Effect Legendary Edition on Steam. This speaks poorly of me because I'm such a dirty BioWare fanboy. But I own Mass Effect on almost everything. I bought it on the original Xbox 360. I bought Mass Effect 2 and I bought Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on the PS4 when it was released. I bought the Mass Effect Collector's Edition on the PS4 when it was released. I bought the Mass Effect on EA Games when they have their own launcher, so I own Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on EA Games, and then I own Mass Effect Legendary Edition on Steam.
Nice.
And I didn't need to do that, guys. I didn't need to buy Mass Effect that many times.
I mean, hey, support the developers that you love. I mean, I've only bought Mass Effect 2.
No.
I bought it in
arguably
2015.
Mass Effect 2 is the best one.
Yeah, and I only played it for 8.5 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't grab you.
So, well, yeah, I want to get into it. I want to play it. I did like it. I did enjoy it, but I believe The Witcher 3 came out around the same time.
The Witcher 3 would do that.
And I think I was trying to play Mass Effect to kind of like time me over till The Witcher 3 was launched.
And then The Witcher 3 launched.
And then The Witcher 3 launched, and I was like, well, goodbye every other game for the next 300 hours.
Commander Shepard says, what?
Commander Shepard.
This is my favorite store in the Citadel. Yeah. Boy, boy.
So I'm going to play X4 Foundations.
You're going to play X4 Foundations?
I am, because I've played a lot of X3.
Okay.
I bought X4 in hopes that it would be like
Remember,
X3
we only really have an hour.
Yeah, no, but I'd like to get into it and just see what it feels like. I mean, after playing Starfield and all these other kind of space games, I think it'd be cool to just see what is the appeal for X4 Foundations. Is there any appeal?
Is there any appeal? Okay.
Is it a banana? Is there appeal?
Is there something to do? Well,
at this point, you're just ignoring my bad jokes.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not immune to them. I will not acknowledge them. I can't keep acknowledging them and be healthy and happy. At a certain point, I have to say enough is enough. We're done.
Oh my god, that's great.
That's interesting. I guess because I bought it on Steam, but I've played so much of the Supreme Commander series, but it says I only have 17 minutes. Oh, Europa Universalis is 4. I'd play that. Anyway.
I wanted to go look for my Homeworld 2 discs today while I was kind of making more of a mess, attempting to clean up. And because we were talking about that a couple episodes ago, you were like, "Yeah, Homeworld," and I was like, "Yeah, I have Homeworld," and I really want to like take my old games out and put them on display.
Yeah.
I'm gonna revamp this whole entire basement over the course of the next year, and what we're doing and how we're podcasting and how we're setting up is gonna kind of lean into that a lot. So we'll see how that goes. So X4 Foundations.
You're doing X4
That's my
Foundations, and I am torn between Star Wars Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith or Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast.
Ooh, Jedi Outcast was good with Cal. What was his name? What was the main character's name?
Cal Juger.
Let's see. Jedi Knight 2 Outcast. Main character.
Yeah, because he was the character in Dark Forces.
Yeah, Kyle Katarn.
Kyle Katarn. He's a badass.
Kyle Katarn.
Though I do really want to play Star Ocean the Second Story. I've never played Star Ocean the Second Story. I was a big Star Ocean kid in the PS2 era.
Yep.
They had The End of Time, I think it was.
Yep.
It was so good.
And you've got that in your library? See,
yes, I do have Star Ocean the Second Story in my library.
See, this, listeners, is the problem. Games go on sale on Steam. We buy them, and then we never get time to play them because we're always busy with other games.
Busy.
I think we suffer from like the new hotness, though, right? Like,
new
game comes out. Oh, new game.
Hotness. I actually joined the Reddit group Patient Gamers.
Okay. Yeah.
I have failed in that. I have bought games on release date, but I haven't pre-ordered anything since Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
Cyberpunk I pre-ordered and I got burnt by it. And that's not to say Cyberpunk hasn't improved. Cyberpunk is an excellent game.
Yeah.
But at launch it was less so.
Fair enough.
Okay, I know what I'm going to do.
Okay, I know what are you going to do?
I am going to do Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast.
Okay. That's one of my favorite Star Wars games of all time.
Perfect. And I look forward to installing it as we speak.
It wasn't as good as like the Knights of the Old Republic, the original one.
Oh, the Coder?
Yeah, the KOTOR. Oh my god, so good. But yeah, I think you'll enjoy it.
The Coder was like, for me, when BioWare really said, this is us. This is what we're going to be doing for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then EA came and ruined everything.
Aw, stupid EA.
Stupid EA.
Well,
okay.
Cool. So I'm going to get into X4 Foundations. The idea here is it's from EgoSoft. And as EgoSoft would say, X4 Foundations brings our most sophisticated universe simulation ever. Fly every ship, explore space, or manage an empire. Trade, fight, build, and think carefully. While you embark on an epic journey, experience tons of improvements with the massive 6.0 update. I think they're actually on like 7.0 now. I don't know, but oh yeah, they're 7.0 public beta. So they're still doing lots with this game, and it was released in November 2018. But the graphics look cool, and X3 was kind of a slog for me.
This is a Raven game. This was before Raven was sent to the COD mines. Look at them doing good stuff.
Oh yeah. What is give some background on Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast?
Jedi Knight 2, the legacy of Star Wars Dark Forces and the Star Wars Jedi Knight series, lives on in an intense first-person action of Jedi Outcast. As Kyle Katarn, agent of the New Republic, use your lightsaber in the full power of the Force to combat a new evil plaguing the galaxy. So it looks like just kind of an FPS, but with Force powers, which is always a good combo.
And lightsabers.
The lightsabers
are the best reason to play.
You drop the lightsaber point down, and featuring such voice talents as Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian.
Love Billy D.
Billy D, he was an interesting actor, and he got boned by the people who did Batman. Because he only agreed to do the role of Harvey Dent in, I want to say Batman 2 with Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito.
I think so, yeah.
On the premise that he would then get to be Scarface in the next Batman that was coming up, because Harvey Dent became Scarface. Which isn't a spoiler. If you don't know your Batman villains, I don't even know
And then
why
they
you're
threw-
listening.
Then they threw Tommy Lee Jones into the role.
Tommy Lee Jones. You know what? I don't care what anyone says. I love that Batman. Tommy Lee Jones as Scarface and
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Yeah.
Oh, mwah.
Yeah, it was the Batman where things started to get weird. Because that was Batman and Robin, right?
Was it Batman and Robin?
I think it was. It
I
was
thought
the
that was Batman Forever.
because I think Batman and Robin was the one with
It was Batman Forever.
Was
Jim
it Batman
Carrey
Forever?
was Batman Forever.
Oh,
Batman
yeah,
and
yeah.
Robin was Mr. Freeze and
and
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy, yeah.
Pamela Isley.
The most important question though is which one had the nipples? Because I think
When did they? George Clooney, Val Kilmer, I believe, introduced the bat nipples. And
did they? Because I
Val
think
Kilmer Batman was Forever.
I feel like Batman Forever had. Did they still have the more? No, Batman Forever had Robin.
No, Batman Forever with Val Kilmer had the bat nipples.
Yeah, it did. Actually, the Robin suit in Batman and Robin had nipples too.
Yeah, that was George Clooney. That was the bat nipple era.
Yeah, it was like, why do we have to give the bat suit nipples? I mean,
What was really Batman and Robin? They really got corny because I remember when Pamela Isley or Poison Ivy hits both of them with her pheromones and they fall in love with her and they're competing for her.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, George Clooney Batman whips out a credit card and he's like, "The Bat credit card, never leave without it." It's like,
Yeah,
come
right.
on.
Or I actually liked the part where they're on like the island, and there's the metal with all the holes in it, and Robin goes, "Holy metal, Batman!" And Batman looks at him and says, "What?" And he's like, "It's metal and it's got holes
yeah,
in
it's got
it."
holes. Yeah, that was a good callback.
Good throwback. Yeah,
That was an excellent throwback, and I think that was Batman Forever
yeah, it might have been.
with Val Kilmer again.
God, you know what? There's a whole bunch of movies I could binge, just to binge again. Yeah.
You gotta come to White with me one time, and we'll hit up the lobby.
Let's do it.
You're gonna have a great time.
Let's do it,
I
man.
promise you that.
I'm in. I'm game.
Done.
Cool. So I guess without further ado,
Here we go.
I've installed X4 Foundations.
I've
You've
installed
got
Jedi Knight,
Jedi Outcast.
Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast.
All right. Good luck. Have fun. And yeah,
May
don't
the Force
get-
be with you.
don't get force choked.
You know what? I will be the Force choker. It is I who Force chokes.
You know what? They need to do a character like a really big, one of those characters where people are like, I wish that character would force choke me. Yeah, they're gonna.
Like a daddy night.
Daddy night.
Daddy
yeah.
night.
You know, one of these days they're gonna do it,
They're
and
gonna do
somebody's
it.
gonna
They're
make the
gonna do it.
joke, and Pedro Pascal's probably gonna voice the character.
Damn it, Pedro.
All right, good luck.
Oh, your mouse pointer's a lightsaber. That's
Oh, yeah.
cool. All right, let's see.
Back in the day of good mouse pointers.
Oh God.
All right,
Oh, I can definitely get behind that. Actually.
that was fun.
Well,
Hello.
here we are.
Save my game. No, that was the tutorial game. So
That was the tutorial.
that was the tutorial. I mean, you got to do the
You gotta do the tutorial.
You have to.
You have to.
It's
A
necessary.
game like a game as big and complex as X. You gotta do the tutorial.
You do,
You do.
definitely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, here we are.
We are episode 12.
Episode 12, and we played all games. So let's talk about it. So we did our 0 hours, which is a special topic or a special category in which we both play a game in one of our library or in each of our respective libraries
Mm-hmm.
where we have under an hour of playtime.
Yeah.
And in this case, we went with some games that we were actually kind of excited to play. Star Wars Jedi Outcast for me, and X4 for Trevor. And as always, though, we are going to discuss them and where we feel about it, rankings, things like that.
Yeah.
And I guess to get the ball rolling, did you have a preference, or do you?
You know what? Why don't you tell us about Jedi Knight? Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast is one of my all-time old school favorites. So why
Really?
don't you regale me with your
All right.
travel into the past?
So that is important to mention. It is an older game. This is a 1990s FPS shooter. It's based off the Quake 3 engine. we're on what, Unreal 5 at this point?
Yeah, Unreal 5.
Yeah. So like the engine's old, it's outdated, but that doesn't mean it doesn't do a job well. And I wanted to be very clear. It felt like a Star Wars game, with the good and the bad that comes from that. For example, it made laser weapons, blasters, feel inaccurate. Like I had the Stormtrooper's E11 blaster with the scope on the top, and if I put the crosshair right on the guy's torso,
Yeah.
like we're talking center of mass shot, sometimes it would hit his leg.
Yeah.
So, and I missed. So like my accuracy rating for the level I completed was 38%.
Oof.
38%.
You're basically
I was
stormtrooper.
Literally a stormtrooper. Which is hilarious because like one of the first lines we get about stormtroopers is like, "No, look at the blaster shots. They're too well placed. Only Imperial stormtroopers are capable of this kind of accuracy." It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So
oh
like
my God.
we get this idea that they're good, but they're not.
Yeah. The Empire's finest warriors.
Yeah,
and they can't hit the broadside of a bantha.
Yeah. And it felt that way. Like the laser blasts were inaccurate. They were slow. Like you could strafe a laser turret. You could circle strafe and not get hit. And I get there's balancing issues there, right? Like it has to do that to make it fair.
Yeah.
But my God, does it kind of it felt like a cheese. It felt like I was in a Star Wars movie for a long time.
But lest us not forget, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast came out 21 years ago.
21 years ago, absolutely. And I'm not going to ping the graphics because like for the era, they were great. Yeah, they were boxes. But that's what games were back then. You didn't have these really outrageously detailed skeletal rigged models. You had boxes on boxes, and it was good. It was enjoyable. I'm just still upset about the accuracy though.
Oh yeah.
Like I just wanted one weapon that, and there may be weapons you unlock down the road that are more accurate. We only got into the first level.
The thing is though, Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, one of the best things about that game is actually that it has online PvP.
It did, yeah.
And this was before I got into playing Counter-Strike, but and Counter-Strike Source was my first foray into that. But
oh boy,
but I played a lot of Jedi Knight 2 online, and we would literally have lightsaber duels and lightsaber battles, and we would there was like certain tricks that you could use in the game to kind of exploit the combat mechanics in order to like be better at lightsaber fighting than the others. And so we used to do like literally hours and hours and hours and hours of duels. But again, I played this not on Steam. I played this on disc. I bought this physical copy of this game. That's something like I don't think I'm ever going to feel again. I don't think I've bought a physical copy of a game in a decade.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than for the Nintendo Switch, but is that really physical? It's all digital now, isn't it?
It's all digital now, yeah.
Yeah. So what was like the highlight for you for kind of revisiting the Jedi Knight universe?
Oh man, there was this bit where you open the blast doors and the stormtroopers come pouring out and you just mow them down with your blaster rifle, and then the stormtroopers go retreat and they start running away and you start chasing them down. Oh baby, I was Han Solo on the Death Star. It was amazing. And it was really good at that. And Raven Software back in the day was always really good at making these like awesome set piece battles.
Yeah.
And it felt good. I really enjoyed playing it. Man, there were some moments where here I am shooting a disruptor blaster and not only missing, but missing so badly that I had to like double check myself. Like, am I the problem? And to be fair, I did disable auto aim, and maybe if I re-enabled it, that would be a different story. Maybe having it on.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about the mechanic in that game is that the blaster is designed to shoot kind of at random angles outside of the tip of the blaster. It's not designed to just shoot straight.
Yeah.
And that's like very contrary to like a game like Counter-Strike or first-person shooter where the bullet always goes perfectly straight, exactly where you're aiming every time. Even most games now, even like Call of Duty and games like that, they don't really play much with like the bullet curve, that it's going to start dropping over distance and slowing down over distance.
Battlefield was always really good for that. Battlefield really incorporated ballistics and like bullet drop and things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But Jedi Knight, yeah, it was just like random blasting, random locations.
Especially if you use the secondary fire on the blaster rifle, which is full auto.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like a whirlwind of blaster fire.
Great when there was like 5 guys on the screen. Just blah, blah, blah. Good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was enjoyable. I had fun. Once I got back into the 90s mindset of first-person shooters, because those are punishing, right? And not in like a Dark Souls kind of way where it's like, okay, you can learn the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
90s, you would just die.
Yeah.
You had to be like, okay, why? Was it jank? If it was jank, just avoid jank. Or did I do something? And in this case, I blew up something and it had a scripted explosion.
Nice. I like it. So, yeah. This is an old game.
It's an old game. It hasn't held up well, but it still was readable. Like, I could see what could be interacted with and what couldn't be interacted with. Things like that. So I'm going to go ahead, remembering that it's an older game and it is made in an outdated engine, in an era where graphics cards were sometimes integrated, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I played that on a GeForce 4 maybe, or some GeForce 3 even. Yeah.
So with all that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and give it a very favorable 7.
7 out of 10 graphics and art. Okay, cool. And I think that's fair. I mean, rating something for its time.
Yeah, and also everything read Star Wars. Like there was nothing that didn't look Star Wars. And when you can do a good cohesive thing like that, it's worth it. It's worth saying it did well.
So compared to modern games, what would you rate it?
Oh, in a modern setting, that is a solid 4.
4 out of 10. Yeah.
Because again, it read as a good Star Wars game, but it was blocky, chunky, very outdated graphic.
Well, if I made a game today and I made it look like that, yeah, I don't think I'd sell too many copies.
Yeah. And there is actually a very surprisingly robust audience that wants that old clunky box back, but not me. Music and audio. I mean, it's Star Wars, baby. It nailed it all.
It's composed audio.
I was in there and like I was banging and it was good, and it used good sound effects. Like I always kind of knew where the blaster rifle was coming from. So game design wise, it did well. Music, I mean, it's Star Wars. So I'll give that an 8.
Nice, 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
and I like that because one of the things that you could take a 2003 video game and compare it against a video game today would be sound effects and audio and music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sound in video games, especially composed music in video games in 2003 was just as good as it is now.
Yeah.
Audio hardware and audio systems and audio, the ideas of creating music hasn't really changed since then.
Just compression. You can fit more on less now.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Gameplay. This is going to be a woof for me. This. I understand there is a game beyond the game I was playing. The PvP combat, and once you get the lightsaber and the force powers, the game really does change.
Yeah.
I wasn't there yet. So I can only base it on what I was playing. And what I was playing was a 6 out of 10 shooter. Because when you're shooting a rifle, you should hit what you're aiming at. Pistols, sure, there's going to be a little deflection. Machine guns, I can absolutely understand.
Yeah.
Losing accuracy with a machine gun, but single shot at the very least should be in my crosshair.
Yeah, I agree.
At the very least inside my crosshair.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a 6 out of 10. Fun wise though, I had I was even having fun when I died because it was just such a why moment. So I'm gonna give this a good 7 out of 10 for fun.
7 out of 10. Okay, cool. I think that's fair, and I mean it is a game that I'm very fond of.
Yeah. I am scooching away from Trevor as I'm saying these things, right? just to protect myself.
How dare you say things like that about the games
This
of
is
my
the game.
childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah. So general rating, we'll stick with the 7.
Yeah.
It was a 7 out of 10 game. What's especially important to me is this game has a lot of historical value. Like, I can see a lot of gameplay and game development that would go on into other things.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to tell me that the team at BioWare looked at the lightsaber combat and said, that's what we're going to do,
Yeah.
I'd believe you. If you were to tell me the team at Raven took the lessons learned from Jedi Knight Outcast and then put it into other games, I'd believe you. Because there's a lot of really important things that were done in this game that would later on become entire games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jedi Knight 2 was a 10 out of 10 game when it was new. It was, peak video gaming. It was peak Star Wars. It was even peak graphics when it came out. Like that.
Wow.
Believe it or not, that was the best graphics you got at that time.
At that time. He's not wrong. Children, he is not wrong.
And so, yeah, I think we owe a lot to Jedi Outcast, but I've got to ask you, would you give it your stamp of approval?
I would. I would absolutely give it my stamp of approval. Not only as a modern game that you could play today, it was well done, level design was good, everything looked great, but also as a historical aspect. Like, you do need to... There's a sort of flavor in gaming right now that's trying to get away from these ideas. That's like, everything needs to be new, but if you do that, you just end up doing these old games again.
Yeah.
There is an importance in recognizing what came before, just because it's where you're going.
What I have to say about like Star Wars games as they've evolved.
Mm-hmm.
We had like Battlefront and a couple of really cool gems. But then we got into like I've got Jedi Survivor. I'm kind of playing through it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful game. It's well composed. It sounds great. It looks great. It's fun. But it's like a Souls-like. We kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a Souls-like really, for me, takes away from the fact that it's a Star Wars game. If I want to play a Star Wars game, I want it for the story, the adventure, the item crafting, and the loot. I'm a loot system kind of guy. I love the loot. So like I would love to see, if we're gonna make more Star Wars games, let's get back to the KOTORs of the world.
Yeah.
Bring me the adventure, like the Witcher 3 style Star Wars game. I want loot. I want different outfits. I want different suits. I want different kyber crystals.
I want to customize my blaster. Like, I want to open that sucker up and like tool it. I want it to be a little more accurate. It shoots slower. I want it to be a little more powerful. It overheats faster. Like, I want these trade-offs in these things. I want that.
We're not getting that in the new Star Wars games, because the new Star Wars games, while they tell a really interesting and rich story,
Outlaw looks like the new one, the Outlaws.
Yeah,
that might do what we want it to do.
I hope so. I
can't respect Ubisoft, which is the game.
Yeah,
because
I'm kind of on an Ubisoft ban right now.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think I'm going to buy any more of their games.
Yeah, neither am I, which is a shame, because Outlaws looks like something's there.
I say that, but then like there'll be a Steam sale.
There'll be a Steam sale.
And I'll own every Ubisoft game.
I'll buy it. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag was my last Ubisoft game, and I thought it was phenomenal.
Oh, really? Black Flag?
Yeah, I really liked Black Flag.
Oh.
Really, really liked Black Flag, but I just, I'm finding as I get older, time is getting more limited, and I have to really choose the games that I want to play. And so I'm going to choose games with new and fun and interesting mechanics, not like Assassin's Creed is just a reskinned version of the last Assassin's Creed game.
That is
right?
true. That is true.
Black Flag was cool because of like the ships and the piracy, and I was like, this is so great.
Black Flag was pretty. I did the last Assassin's Creed I played was Valhalla,
okay, yeah.
Which was the one where you're in Vikings?
Yeah, Valhalla.
Yeah. It was good. I mean, the world was way too big. Like, and that's another thing with these. It started with Odyssey and it went in with Valhalla. But it was like these huge worlds. And it's like, I don't have that sort of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really stoked that they put that in, but so much of it was empty or just rehash of like capture reward. Like, okay, but captured 5 already. Like, it's boring now.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the takeaway for these kinds of games for me is let's get back to what made the older games good.
Yeah.
And make some newer games and add some interesting new mechanics to them. Don't just rehash the old thing.
Things like that. A really fun one that I played recently was in the FPS. I think it's called Cultic. Yeah, it's called Cultic.
Yeah. I haven't tried it yet.
It's a really good throwback to a 90s FPS, right? But it added cool new things. It added upgrade wheels. It added a better movement system.
Nice.
The thing about the 90s is it was limited by the technology. So movement felt clunky because that was the only real way they could convey movement.
Yeah.
But now movement can be ridiculous out there.
Well, look at Mirror's Edge. Right?
Look at Mirror's Edge.
Where it was like, oh, this is the kind of movement I can make in a game. This is crazy, right? And then, as I experienced early on in our podcast, Titanfall 2 kind of played on that.
A lot, yeah.
Wall running and parkour. And yeah, it's so cool what you can do with movement nowadays, which brings me to X4.
Yeah, let's talk about X4.
The movement, man, the movement. It feels like it was an afterthought for them. It feels like they tried to, they're like, we want people to leave their ships.
I have a question for you regarding that. For me, space simulators, they're either hard physics or soft physics. Which one was it?
Well, this is hard physics.
It was hard physics?
Oh, yeah, it's hard physics. Yeah, with assists, like flight assist and stuff like that. Yeah.
So if you would keep going until you win.
Yeah, if you turned off all the flight assists, you would just keep going in that general that way direction.
Interesting. Okay.
The general that way direction.
The general that way direction.
But I really actually their flight assist is really cool because when you get closer to large objects, the flight assist will match your kind of location and speed with that object automatically.
Nice.
So that like let's say you're flying up to a capital ship, it kind of takes over the physics for you so that you can like fly right close to the edge of the capital ship and not smash into it. And I mean, it gets rid of some of like the random fun that can happen, but if you're playing a serious space simulator, you got to assume these spaceships will have like AI, and they'll have
at least collision avoidance.
Yeah, collision avoidance, autopilot. Like they'll have some, fandangled super controls. Yeah. But no, I came from X3. Played a lot of X3.
I think I own, actually. I think I own one of the X games.
Yeah, and X3 The Threat was one of my favorite. I put so much time into that game, and now I'm going to look back and it's going to be like 123 hours. And I built my galactic empire. Like I started with a trade ship. I love trading from the freelancer days, from your wing commander days, from your privateer 1, privateer 2. I really like trading. I really like the idea of building, trading for goods, building a bigger ship, trading more goods, building a bigger ship, buying more ships, automating those ships, getting those ships to trade. And, I didn't get that far in an hour, obviously. I got through flight school. That's about as far as I got.
Hey, baby.
And that's because I haven't played X3 in a really long time, and I don't remember how to play it. And X4 has a bunch of new flight elements to it and controls. It also has kind of a first-person mode. You can leave your ship, walk around stations, that kind of thing. And I got to do that a little bit. The first-person thing is very kind of janky. It's not really like first-person-esque. Like Starfield does like zero-G space fighting FPS extremely well. I think X4 kind of doesn't do it that well. It doesn't feel that polished. The spaceflight is amazing. It's complicated. And again, it's kind of like that real world hard physics with some soft assists. Okay. So it looks great. It runs fairly well on my system with the AMD FSR enabled. Without that, I was getting like 39 FPS with full screen anti-aliasing and all these other things. So I tweaked with the settings. I got it to a good 60 FPS at 1440p, so that's good. The ships are very detailed and very, very beautiful. The textures are nice. The player models are kind of jank, and they don't look good at all. But again, I think the first person thing was kind of hey, wouldn't it be cool if we added first person to our X3 game? And I kind of want to play it and see where that goes. Like, what kind of first-person interactions do you have with vendors and planet exploration and some of these other things? But I think it's X3 with some new features and some better graphics, and that's cool. I think the graphics are probably a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Well, it looked very pretty from where I was sitting.
Yeah, it's pretty for sure. But like then you see the character models and the hair and the hair, and it just looks like
a little rough there.
Again, it looks like an afterthought, right?
Okay, yeah.
But the ships, like if this was just an X game with just ships, I would give this thing
all ships all day.
I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh wow,
easily, yeah, for graphics.
That's very high.
But I feel like there's some areas they could have done better, and so 7.5 out of 10 for graphics and art, I think, is fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't pay any attention to the music at all. Honestly,
but you can only do so much with space, right?
Well, I was floating around and I was trying to figure out how to fly my ships and doing the flight training and flight school, and like, you're not going to actually be able to enjoy any of that music until, again, X3. You get in your freighter.
Then you do a long haul.
You're doing a long haul. You're going to be literally in the in-game time 45 minutes
On
flying.
A side note, whenever you're doing a long haul freighter mission in any of the X series, feel free to put on one of our podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Best place to listen.
The best place to listen. I actually do a lot of those. Like when I'm playing a long format game, I listen to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I listen to podcasts when I'm driving for the most part because it's an hour to work, an hour back. I can listen to like 2 or 3 podcasts.
Commute.
It's a commute.
Is it really an hour out for you?
With the traffic, it is right now.
Yuck.
Yeah, because of the construction.
Oh, I was about. Yeah, you would be affected pretty badly by
it's
that.
brutal.
Yeah.
But so yeah, the music. I actually kind of have to give this like an NA. I don't even know if I had a chance to even listen to the music.
Wow, that's too bad.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it is what it is, but
yeah. So I might come back to that after a little more playtime and update that rating. But for now, it's kind of not applicable. I don't even recall hearing music because I'm doing a tutorial. They're talking to me. They're telling me what to do. I think I'd have to get into some space combat and some actual missions to really experience the score. Because X3 had a really beautiful score.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a banger, but it was definitely kind of that calm, cool space and good combat music.
Yeah.
But even at some point, I remember in X3, I turned the music off and I just played without music because it was just a place to space out.
Yeah.
So gameplay.
Gameplay.
So you got one disclaimer here is I really like the grindy space games.
Yeah.
I enjoy them.
Absolutely.
So for me, like X4 is a 9 out of 10 gameplay game. I love the challenging flight mechanics. I love the challenging ship management and player management system. This game has more menus than, I don't know, what has a lot of menus?
Japanese RPGs from the early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this thing has way more menus than a Japanese RPG, for sure. You're going to get lost in the menus. This is to like space capitalism as Stellaris is to don't skip the tutorial or you're screwed.
Please, guys, don't skip the
tutorial. Don't skip the tutorial. You will regret that.
You need it. it.
So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. But I think if you want to do a space game, like a lot of people will talk about Elite Dangerous being kind of like really fun and really accessible. X4 is not accessible. It is not an easy game to learn. It's got a huge learning curve. You're going to be frustrated because you don't have enough money. And you're going to try to do missions, and you're going to need to repair your ship, and that's going to cost money. Oh. Everything is going to cost money in these X games, and you have to appreciate that to enjoy a game like this. So I enjoy this game, but maybe watch a couple YouTube videos if you're thinking about trying it, because it is an investment. You're going to spend your first 50 hours of the game just scrounging up enough credits to like upgrade your ship.
The first 20 hours you're going to have to redo.
Oh, yeah. You're going to
because you're going to make wrong choices.
And you're going to build your first facilities or your first production facilities, I'm assuming, because I'm sure it's like X3.
Yeah.
And you're going to start making credits only to realize that you built it in a system where there's no demand and it was a waste of all of your money. And so you're going to save scum and you're going to go back and you're going to try again.
Save scumming.
Save scumming.
God bless Save scumming.
But I love the X series. X3 I played rigorously. And it was my escape from bad days of work. It was my escape from stress and anxiety, and I just loved it. So X4, For me, again, fun. I'm going to rate this a 9 out of 10 for fun, but that is a me rating.
Yeah.
I think the average person would rate X4 very, very low as far as fun goes. Like if your idea of fun is Hollow Knight or Super Mario or Mario Kart, you're going to hate X4. You're going to give it 0 out of 10. You're not even going to want to try it. But if you like, space simulation games, because that's really what this is, you're going to love it. Get in there, give it a try. I hope there's an X5 someday that hopefully beats out Star Citizen, because we all know Star Citizen is never coming out, guys.
That's not true. They have a very really good storefront right now. You could buy I think a carrier class vessel for only $5,000. Real money?
It's never coming out. It's never coming out. We might, if we're lucky, we might get Squadron 42. If we're very, very lucky, we'll get Squadron 42, right. the single player campaign. I don't even want to play it multiplayer at this point.
No.
When I first bought into Star Citizen 15 years ago or whenever that was.
You're an original founder?
I was in a long time back, but I don't know how long it's been since I bought in, but it's been a long time. And I feel like I bought on Kickstarter before they started their own website, right?
The Robert Space Industry?
Oh, yeah. Like long before that. But that game's never coming out. It's never coming out.
Guys.
It's not happening.
Not happening, guys. Get over it.
And back then I had a lot of free time where I could say, yeah, I can sit and play games for hundreds of hours in a year, no problem.
Yeah.
But now, with the economy and interest rates and inflation, I'm at a point where I gotta hustle. I gotta do podcasting and YouTubing and work a full-time job, and I might start driving Uber. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen?
Who knows?
But what I do know is that I'm gonna give this game a general 8 out of 10. And I'm gonna say that I will give it my stamp of approval. If you like space simulation games, X4 is probably for you. It's probably for you. If you like Freelancer or you ever played any of the old privateer games, X4 is the place to go. Although X3 is more accessible from a space capitalism standpoint, because a lot more things are automated. There's a lot less like you're going to fly a fighter jet. It's more like you're automating your long hauler and using autopilot everywhere you go.
Yeah. And then you don't even have to be on it.
Yeah. And I think X4 is going to be a lot more
nitty-gritty.
A lot more nitty-gritty. A lot more detailed, which honestly I'm excited for. I just don't know that I have the time for it.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
You still got to edit episode 10.
No, episode 10 is posted online.
No way.
2:30 p.m. today. Yeah, it's live.
Wow. Yeah, we generally try to be at least two episodes ahead, but
we'll get further ahead as we go.
We'd like to be further ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us as always.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope I hope that the new microphones that we've got are lending well to the audio quality and making things. I know I was having a little difficulty listening in my car when driving through my Bluetooth connection. Just didn't quite sound loud enough. So hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully our efforts are going to good purpose.
Yeah. As always, please leave any comments, suggestions, or just say hi. We'd love to hear from you all, and we'll see you around.
Yeah, good luck, have fun, and don't die.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's our time, and the end of our episode.
But don't feel sad it's over. Be glad it happened. From the two of us in the basement, thanks for tuning in.
Join us next time.
And feel free to send us any feedback on our socials, or send us a direct email at bfcpcontact@gmail.com.
And if you're really interested in what we're doing, join us on Patreon, where we will have loads of behind-the-scenes stuff and uncut takes as more episodes are released. Patreon.com/basements, faults, and catapults.
We're always excited to hear from you because we love engagement. We look forward to our next catapult launch and hope you can join us for the ensuing chaos.
Good luck.
See you next time. I hate this place. It's the smell.
Oh, The Matrix.
Yeah.
You know, that movie would not have been half as good as it was if Keanu Reeves didn't take a major pay cut.
Yeah.
He agreed to less money up front, more residuals,
yeah,
so they'd have more money for the special effects.
Yeah, I think Keanu Reeves is a pretty swell dude.
You know, like, the world is full of people, and unfortunately, it seems like the worst people get the most rewarded. But Keanu Reeves, he's out there. He's out there being a good dude.
Yeah, he's swell, and Dwayne Johnson is swole. Yeah, and I really hope that they do a Twins remake with him and Kevin Hart. I think it needs to happen.
Oh, that would be good.
Vincent, I am your brother.
That would be good. That would be pretty funny.
I love it.
I do love that. Oh, Twins. I miss Danny DeVito.
Oh, man. Love Danny DeVito. Love Danny DeVito.